broadcast of high school soccer as the St. Francis Lancers host the Archbishop Riordan Crusaders. We're a little over halfway into the game, half a minute into the game. As we prepare for Archbishop Riordan to throw the ball in. St. Francis captain Matthew Keith takes the ball up the right side and crosses, which is successfully pushed back by Archbishop Riordan. And the clearance from the St. Francis goalie goes out of bounds at midfield. The Crusaders turn it over, and the Lancers hold the ball at midfield before their pass is intercepted. It's returned. Co-captain Matthew Keith shoots, it's blocked. The Crusaders clear, but St. Francis maintains control of the ball. And a wayward pass goes over the end line for a goal kick. The Crusaders are called for an offside. Offside foul. The Lancers will have the set play just at the edge of their third. Foul is called against St. Francis. The free kick going to the Crusaders just outside the center circle. St. Francis pass over the top of the Crusaders defense is intercepted by the goalie. Puts it back to his defender on the right-hand side, and they advance across midfield. Foul is called on number 2, Justin Fullen of St. Francis. The Crusaders will have a free kick from right at the midfield line. Matthew Keith of St. Francis gets behind the Riordan defense. His cross is blocked past the end line for a St. Francis corner kick. And the pass from St. Francis's Mark Ware goes beyond the touchline for a Crusaders throw-in. Shot from Ezra Alfrenado of the Crusaders goes wide of goal. Beyond of inline for a goal kick to St. Francis. Matthew Kujawa runs onto the through ball from Mark Ware. Oh, and a shot from Aiden Wall bounces off the post, runs across the goal line, and then is cleared by the Archbishop Riordan defense. The foul is called against Archbishop Riordan. St. Francis will have their free kick on the edge of the center circle in Archbishop Riordan's half. Co-captain James Holland takes the free kick, wide left to goal and beyond the end line. Dimitri Castaneda for St. Francis brings the ball up the right-hand side, but it is blocked by the Archbishop Riordan defense. James Holland's long kick from the back line goes, but St. Francis is called for offside. Bit of drama there for the Archbishop Riordan goalie, who does eventually manage to get his hands on the ball. And Castaneda from St. Francis intercepts the pass to Ezra Alfonada. And it is Ezra Alfonada who is whistled for the foul by the referee and gets a few words from him. Ryan Mayer of St. Francis does a nice job bringing down the free kick, but places a shot on goal to wide right. Christian Paniagua of Archbishop Riordan deflects the ball out of bounds. It's a St. Francis throw-in. Tyler Rowe handling on the touchline. Dimitri Castaneda's ball over the top, a little bit too far for Tyler Rowe to catch up to, and the Archbishop Riordan goalie picks the ball up and punts it to the St. Francis half of the field. Archbishop Riordan with one of a nice run deep into the St. Francis half, but the ball goes over the end line before the cross can be placed. St. Francis captain Mark Keith gets past the defense, lays a very nice cross, but no teammate is able to put it in the goal. Archbishop Riordan keeps it from going out of bounds, controls it, and advances to outside their third of the field. Tyler Rowe intercepts, dribbles on to goal, and gets the shot past the goalkeeper for the first goal of the game. So just 14 and a half minutes in, St. Francis now leads 1-0. Archbishop Riordan turns it over deep in their half. St. Francis advances, but Archbishop Riordan is able to push it out of touch. The throw-in goes to Archbishop Riordan. The referee has called a foul, and he's taking a moment to speak with one of the St. Francis captains. It is a free kick for St. Francis along the touchline, but about 5 yards, 8 yards away from the penalty area. Archbishop Riordan has lined up a three-man wall for the kick. And the free kick gets past the Archbishop Riordan keeper into goal. St. Francis leads 2-0. Tyler Rowe throws in for St. Francis. The ball bounces off the knee of co-captain Matthew Kajawa for a goal kick to Archbishop Riordan. Archbishop Riordan puts the through ball through. Patrick Rodil gets a foot onto it, but leaves the ball exposed for St. Francis co-captain James Holland to clear the ball out of over the near touchline. St. Francis moves quickly. On the attack. The through ball, though, not wide enough for Tyler Rowe to run onto, and the Archbishop Riordan goalkeeper collects it. Ryan Meyer with the ball at the top of the box, his through pass. And it's a third goal for St. Francis. Matthew Kajawa, one of the tri-captains for St. Francis, scores their third goal of the game. Just after 22 minutes in. The through ball was put through very cleanly, and it was maybe the best goal that St. Francis has scored so far this game. Just great execution by their team. And St. Francis does commit a foul right at the midfield line. It has been a relatively clean game, but the center referee does not hesitate to use his whistle if he thinks he needs to. The Riordan free kick is traded back and forth between the teams, but they do manage to keep the ball at the St. Francis end before giving possession to the St. Francis defense. Leading 3-0, they've not been in a hurry to move the ball up the field and have passed it very neatly in their own backfield. Before giving a long ball there, they were onside. The linesman signaled onside, but the goalie for Archbishop Riordan collects it and clears it. And save for the Archbishop Riordan goalkeeper. His first of the game. Nearly identical to the last goal. St. Francis has set themselves up with some possession in the penalty area. But the goalkeeper for Archbishop Riordan played his position very well to get control of the shot. On our replay, you'll see the shot from the left-hand side. The goalkeeper took away the angle and made sure he could cover the ball. Archbishop Riordan takes a shot from about 20 yards outside the penalty area by Giovanni Mendoza. A little hopeful there. The shot was very high and very wide of goal. St. Francis substitutes about 3 players here before the goal kick resumes the game. And action is resumed. St. Francis maintains control of the ball after some back and forth following the goal kick. Archbishop Riordan, the center ref elects not to call the offside penalty, indicated by the linesman with his flag. And St. Francis, though, while getting the ball away from their back line, does go out of touch for an Archbishop Riordan throw-in. St. Francis controls the inbound throw. They bring the ball up the right-hand side, and the linesman signals a foul on Riordan committed against St. Francis player number 15. St. Francis takes the free kick, sends it down the right-hand side. Aiden Wall is able to control it, dribbles into the penalty area, crosses to in front of goal. The shot is not hit cleanly, and the Archbishop Riordan goalie controls it for his third save of the game. The St. Francis through ball is well cleared by the Archbishop Riordan goalkeeper. St. Francis will throw it in from just inside the midline. Mikhail Kishnani passes the ball back to his defender. St. Francis inbounds back to their own defense. Captain James Holland passes to his goalkeeper, who then successfully passes out to defender Dimitri Castaneda. Oh. Archbishop Riordan does advance the ball, but forward Christian Meja is unable to keep control of it. The St. Francis clearance goes over the head of their teammates, but a foul is called for pushing from behind. St. Francis quickly puts the free kick back into play. It is a shot, but not on target, going over goal for an Archbishop Riordan free kick. St. Francis takes the opportunity to throw in to substitute a player. Number 24, Tyler Rowe, takes his first break of the game. A St. Francis turnover at midfield is almost an Archbishop Riordan attack. The through pass is intercepted. But the St. Francis attack quickly stopped as the ball goes out of bounds. Archbishop Riordan there with a sequence of passes. Unfortunately, the ball is lost over the touchline. The teams now settling to trade clearances out of their respective backfields. St. Francis now settling the ball, trying to keep it at the feet of their defenders, and now a long pass up the right-hand side where defender Spencer Balkenhol heads it forward. And then the center ref calls a foul against Archbishop Riordan, about eight yards outside the corner of the penalty area, and the referee is unhappy with the play of the Archbishop Riordan defender, shows him a yellow card. And according to WCAL rules, he must leave the game for a period of time but can re-enter later. And the player receiving the yellow card is number 9, Jacob Celia of Archbishop Riordan. Riordan sets a one-man wall this time. Nick Sereni. The ball's played well to his left, and their defense clears it with a header. Riordan down, trying to quickly advance. They put the through ball past the St. Francis defense, but the defender is too quick for Archbishop Riordan attacker. St. Francis quickly back the other end. The dribbling is deflected by the Archbishop Riordan defender for a St. Francis corner kick. The kick will be taken by number 3, Aiden Wall, as Archbishop Riordan lines up their defense on the edge of the goal box. It's a short pass. Riordan is onto it and clears the ball out of touch. St. Francis pulls back their defender as they settle for the throw-in. And then a shot taken by St. Francis. Number 10, Matthew Kajawa, but the ball hits the top of the post and over. Archbishop Riordan brings back in number 9, who had received the yellow card a minute ago. In for number 1, Giovanni Rodriguez. Castaneda passes back to his goalkeeper. The Archbishop Riordan attacker runs onto it, unable to quite get to it. Oh, and the cross from St. Francis is a little ahead of the other attackers. They keep it from going out of bounds. The referee has signaled it's out of bounds and an Archbishop Riordan throw-in. And a hopeful shot from 20 yards outside the penalty area by St. Francis, very easily handled by the Archbishop Riordan goalkeeper. His punt goes 10 yards past midfield. Archbishop Riordan is able to settle and control it, but unable to complete their next pass. St. Francis again brings it. Instead of going outside to the right, they decide to go up the middle with a long ball over the top. That is handled by the Archbishop Riordan defense, but pressure from the midfield at St. Francis causes another turnover there. Interested in settling it down, St. Francis passes it back to the goalkeeper. Again, Archbishop Riordan pressures him. Through ball the player is onside, signaled by the linesman. Successful block from the Archbishop Riordan goalkeeper, though. He has definitely done better in the second part of the first half here in blocking the shots from St. Francis. St. Francis then, again, not quite as crisp as they were earlier in the game. You can see in our replay on the shot there, the goalkeeper is out, narrowing the angle, and goes horizontal to ensure he blocks the ball. St. Francis will be... St. Francis has taken the corner kick. Corner kick fairly low into the box. Cleared by Archbishop Riordan. They do manage to hold it. And the pass from Giovanni Rodriguez is intercepted by St. Francis. They pressure it. St. Francis having some success keeping possession at the edge of the defensive third of Archbishop Riordan, but deciding to settle for shots from the outside, easily handled by the goalkeeper for Archbishop Riordan. Less than 2 minutes to go in the half. This game has mostly been played on the defensive side of Archbishop Riordan's on the field. The St. Francis defense seeming to be able to handle things fairly easily. There has been some possession, or rather some movement forward from Archbishop Riordan, but they've seemed challenged to be able to hold the ball in the defensive third of St. Francis. The center ref calls a foul. There's a St. Francis elects not to take the free kick forward, but to bang it around the back. Archbishop Riordan blocks it, and their forwards will run that down. The clearance is deflected, and then intercept. The pass from Archbishop Riordan was deflected by St. Francis defender Corey Hill. Archbishop Riordan gets ready for their corner kick. It'll be taken by number 13, Patrick Rodil. It is high and outside the goalie box. And after some kicks and interceptions and headers, the St. Francis goalie collects the ball. Very close to the end of the half here. The punt from the goalkeeper is maintained by St. Francis. Their shot is then blocked by the Archbishop Riordan goalie. They have another shot cleared off the line by Archbishop Riordan. You definitely see Archbishop Riordan settling in, putting up more defense than they were able to in the first 20 minutes. And they've held the score at 3-0 here, despite a lot of attempts from St. Francis. St. Francis takes the corner kick. It is behind the in-line and out of bounds, which gives a goal kick to Archbishop Riordan. And the center ref blows his whistle for our half. We will be back when play resumes. Welcome back to our broadcast, everyone. We are broadcasting from St. Francis High School as they host the Archbishop Riordan Crusaders today. This is a game between two teams that are in the bottom half of the table right now, so they both need a result out of the game. At this point, that looks to be in St. Francis's favor as they're leading 3-0. So far this season, St. Francis is 2-3-1 in league play, having scored 10 goals but given up 11, with an overall goal differential of -1 there. Archbishop Riordan so far does not have a win, does not have a point in league play, having lost all 6 of their games. And a big part of that is the lack of scoring. They and Valley Christian have the lowest number of goals scored in the table, and you'll see that in the results there. Right now, St. Francis has come out of their locker room and taken their place on their half of the field. And Archbishop Riordan's coach is having a few final words with his team in front of their bench. The teams are switching goals at halftime. So you'll see Archbishop Riordan in their black shorts and golden purple tops attacking at the goal on the right. St. Francis in their home all white, attacking to the goal on the left. St. Francis preparing to kick off at the start of the second half. The ball currently at the feet of senior co-captain Matthew Kajawa. And we have started. St. Francis passes the ball back, trying to keep possession, trying to keep the ball on the ground so far. And a very nice movement through the midfield there with a pass through the ground. Then across out to the right side. St. Francis crossing from the right-hand side of the penalty area. And Archbishop Riordan's defender, center back, gets his head on the ball, clearing it up and over the goal. St. Francis will take their corner kick from the far left corner. Captain Matthew Keith dribbling the ball over to the corner as Archbishop Riordan lines up their defenders at the top of the goalie box, also known as the 6-yard box. Corner kick comes in, very nicely headed by St. Francis, scored by number 2, Justin Folan. The ball was not particularly high. He had to bend his head down to get to it. Very nice shot, deflecting it straight into goal. We're going to get ready here to show a replay of that. You'll see the ball come in. It just barely gets above head height before settling down. Number 2 runs in there and hits it directly into goal. There was no way to defend against that one. That puts the score at 4-0 here, 2 minutes into the second half. Archbishop Riordan decides to bring out one of their defenders, number 12, who seems to have suffered a little hit to the head. Matthew Keefe intercepts a pass, takes it to the inline, but is pushed wide by the defender. And again, a St. Francis corner kick. This time from the other side of the Archbishop Riordan goal. We'll see if they can duplicate their success. Number 3, Aiden Wall, comes up to take the corner kick. The Archbishop Riordan goalie neatly deflects it. It is cleared by Archbishop Riordan. Unable to get it past number 24, St. Francis defender Tyler Rowe, so they've kept it down in the penalty area. And the St. Francis cross is deflected, takes a bounce, goes over the unline for St. Francis's 3rd corner kick of this half. So just more than 3 minutes into the half, and already the 3rd corner kick for St. Francis. The ball is successfully deflected away from the goal. The cross comes back in. And number 2 for St. Francis, Justin Folan, unable to duplicate his success from a few minutes ago. His header goes wide of the goal and over the end line. Archbishop Riordan's defender doesn't quite get all of the ball on that goal kick, and it goes out of touch just 10 yards past the edge of the 18-yard box. St. Francis elects to inbounds it backwards. They're working to keep the ball on the ground and keep possession of it right now. Junior co-captain James Holland there with the pass. Number 9, he stands at 6 feet 5 inches tall. So of the 3 captains for St. Francis, he is the only junior. Up. This time, Archbishop Riordan does not let the score go in. There was a very nice through ball to co-captain Matthew Keith. But the goalie is out and blocks it. Mikhail Kishnani of St. Francis shows some nice footwork there, but his pass goes to a teammate who's in an offside position. The referees do call the foul. That'll give the free kick to Archbishop Riordan. It'll be taken by number 9, Jacob Cilia, right at the edge of the penalty area. That ball goes through a crowd of players and out of touch. Briefly, we're going to turn to a replay. Yep. So our replay there did show the ball going into the goal, but the St. Francis attacker was called offside. St. Francis able to put together a few passes. Down to the right-hand side on Archbishop Riordan's right-hand side. Their defender clears the ball out of bounds. That was defender Christian Paniaqua who had the clearance there out of bounds. The long throw-in cleared away from the 6-yard box of Archbishop Riordan. A foul is called against Duban Nunez of Archbishop Riordan. St. Francis puts it into play quickly. The cross from Matthew Keith is a little bit slow to make it across the box, and the goalkeeper quickly picks it up and punts it past midfield. St. Francis sustaining some possession right at the edge of the defensive third of Archbishop Riordan. They lay the ball back to their defender, who lays in a long cross. Yeah. Number 2, Justin Fulton, unable to get a good foot on it. The ball goes through for a Archbishop Riordan goal kick. Jacob Cilia comes back to take the goal kick for Archbishop Riordan. St. Francis at this point seeming happily to maintain possession well into their side of the field, followed by a quick pass forward, and then a series of passes as they attack down the right-hand side of Archbishop Riordan. A long cross goes into Matthew Keith. He gets a foot on it, but it's not clean, easily collected by the Archbishop Riordan goalkeeper. A hopeful through ball over the top there from St. Francis. Number 3, Aiden Wall, tries to run onto it, but can't quite catch up. We're ready to see number 9 for Archbishop Riordan, Jacob Cilia, take the goal kick once again. So we've seen here a number of times the past few minutes, St. Francis able to very neatly to move that ball up through the midfield. Ryan Mayer not quite completing the pass that he wanted to. St. Francis will throw it in. Tyler Rowe throws it in for St. Francis to Castaneda. And on back to team captain James Holland. Again, James Holland at 6'5", getting most of the header balls that come into the back line of St. Francis. Mikhail Kishnani there from St. Francis. His through pass unsuccessful. But the Lancers are able to recover and maintain possession of the ball. They're able to string together passes here, 2-3 passes. Justin Foland, who scored the goal at the start of the second half with the ball there. And it's put through. Number 3, Aiden Wall, unable to get it past the goalkeeper there. And then St. Francis is shot wide right of goal. Jacob Cilia now setting up to take another goal kick for Archbishop Riordan. St. Francis advancing the ball up the right side. Captain Matthew Keith makes a long cross. Header from Aiden Wall right inside the near post, but successfully blocked by the Archbishop Riordan goalkeeper. And as we've seen a lot this game, they're getting the ball well over midline with those goalkeepers' punts, but it is no one attacking for Archbishop Riordan seems to be able to get onto the ball and control it. St. Francis, long cross in from Tyler Rowe. 2-3 St. Francis attackers. Number 3, Aiden Wall, makes no mistake that time. He buries it past the Archbishop Riordan goalkeeper. That puts our score today at 6-0. With Archbishop Riordan really unable to sustain anything well enough to get a shot on the goal. So this has turned to be a long afternoon for them. We're going to go to a replay now of that goal from St. Francis. A little touch there from Justin Folan, leaving the ball for Aiden Wall to get on, and he made sure he was not going to miss that time. We're now getting ready for our restart. The center referee, Ron Leedy, blows his whistle for the play to resume. The ball goes out to the right-hand side. Archbishop Riordan, again, unable to put the passes together to keep possession. Justin Folan dribbling a bit at will through the defense of Archbishop Riordan there. And then a long cross in from Castaneda, the center back for St. Francis, into Justin Folan, who was waiting for it. His volley, however, goes just over the crossbar. That would have been a beautiful shot. Let's take another look at that. There's the long cross, one-time touch on it, just going in about 8 inches too high. Number 6, Kishnini of St. Francis keeps the ball through the crowd. Matthew Keith able to dribble into the penalty area before the ball being tackled away by Archbishop Riordan. Their clearance, however, goes straight to a midfielder for St. Francis. They switch the field right to left. Sebastian Mendoza puts the ball down the left-hand side to Elias Rekas. He successfully gets the ball back to Justin Folan. Tyler Rowe then with the ball passes it in, and there the tackle is, and St. Francis loses possession. Archbishop Riordan dribbles it forward, and unsure where that pass was. It went straight to James Holland. He dribbles forward and goes, the 6'5" center back goes forward into the penalty area. No cross for him to try to get onto. Archbishop Riordan intercepts that pass. They've now brought it out of their defensive third. And number 18, Dubon Nunez, able to hold on to the ball a good bit before pressure from two defenders forces him to turn it over. Wow. Folks, right, it is now 7-0 to St. Francis. Very powerful shot from Matthew Keith, the senior co-captain, coming in from the right side. And hopefully we can show you a replay there momentarily. Matthew Keith, right side of the penalty area, sends a rocket into just inside the near post. And one that would have been very tough for that Archbishop Riordan goalkeeper to stop. St. Francis then does a large number of substitutions, bringing about 4 players off the field from a group that had been very successful. Okay. Archbishop Riordan kicks off again. And some lot of contact on the far touchline before the referee blows his whistle. St. Francis takes the free kick. And again, a good sequence of 4 to 5 passes from St. Francis there at least as they work the ball around now. A foul called against number 7, Fabian Magana of Archbishop Riordan. It was a slide tackle. The referee did not like the foul. He felt the contact was unwarranted. Beyond being legal, a little bit risky of injury, and shows a yellow card. And in accordance with WCAL rules, number 7, Fabian Magana, does have to leave the game for at least momentarily. He can be substituted back in later on. St. Francis defender now about to take Dimitri Castaneda is about to take the free kick. But St. Francis is going to make one more substitution, bringing on Aiden Pesta into the midfield. The free kick is headed up right at the edge of the penalty area. St. Francis decides to float the ball out, spread themselves wide. Tyler Rowe now has it on the right side of the box. And the St. Francis cross is blocked past the inline for a corner kick. That corner kick will be taken by Elias Rekas. As he gets ready, defenders and attackers line up just outside the 6-yard box. Yeah. So the St. Francis corner kick actually never was in bounds. It was outside of the inline as it went over the goal. And it took a moment for the referee to blow his whistle and stop play as the St. Francis continued to try to work the ball. So play has to be restarted. Archbishop Riordan took their goal kick while substitutions were still going on. They'll get another chance to take the goal kick. We'll see if they repeat their play to keep the ball on the ground, passing it up to number 8, Nick Sereni. And this time they elect to put it up in the air. St. Francis not contesting the ball, instead letting it go out of bounds. They'll have number 16, Diego Maldonado, throw the ball in now. But before that happens, co-captain number 10, Matthew Kujaba, will come out so that Juan Mendoza can come in and take his place at forward. Maldonado throws in down the left-hand side. It is ruled a foul throw, and it will now belong to Archbishop Riordan. Archbishop Riordan gets the ball forward, easily collected by the St. Francis goalkeeper. St. Francis has substituted in, bringing in Jacob Taylor. Or rather, bringing in their second choice goalkeeper. But for Archbishop Riordan, that does no impact. The same results based on all their efforts so far this game to try to get into the attacking third there. St. Francis clears the ball out of the back. It's controlled by their left forward, but he dribbles into a crowd and loses the ball. The Archbishop Riordan defender tried to control that ball with his feet. He's overwhelmed by multiple attackers. St. Francis, though, can't quite put together the passes they need to take another shot at goal, and a foul is committed. As the ball is cleared, Archbishop Riordan will get a free kick 10 yards past their penalty area. Linesman signals a foul on St. Francis. Archbishop Riordan will get maybe one of their first free kicks on St. Francis half the field. You'll see it on the TV at the 28-yard line. That's just about 15 yards outside the penalty area. Kick to be taken by number 13, Patrick Rodil. Wide right of goal. So another shot at the Archbishop Riordan goal. That one wide right and not a threat. The referee has blown his whistle. He's asked St. Francis to retake that goal kick. St. Francis goal kick does not go very far. They dribble it to in their backfield before clearing it. That through ball does get by Archbishop Riordan and then cleared out of bounds. So similar effort at plays that have been successful for them. For St. Francis earlier this half. That time, though, the plays did not work out as planned. St. Francis doing another substitution before play resumes. Midfielder Justin Folan coming in for a defender, so looks like he'll set up at center back, taking the place of Dimitri Castaneda. St. Francis gets a very high, hopeful cross in, which Archbishop Riordan then is able to clear out. Almost saw some pretty special play by Spencer Balkenhol there from St. Francis, dribbling down the right-hand side. Ultimately, the ball being tackled away by Archbishop Riordan, deflecting off the St. Francis player so that they have their throw-in. That through ball gets to Justin Folan. He was hungry to go a goal again. Archbishop Riordan successfully tackling the ball away from him and clearing it out. St. Francis now giving playing time to players who usually aren't on, at least not in these numbers as a group. Not quite as effective as the earlier teams were, but they are working hard to string together their passes and keep possession of the ball. Justin Folan with the through ball there. That one, no teammate able to get a hold of. The Archbishop Riordan goalie collects it. Patrick Rodell knocks the ball out of bounds. St. Francis throws it in. Number 21's Aiden Pestis cross deflected right away by Archbishop Riordan. Referee takes a moment to walk over and check on number 9 for Archbishop Riordan, Jacob Cilia. He's the defender who's been taking their goal kicks for them. Archbishop Riordan happy to get that ball just out of bounds outside of their defensive third. Referee calls a foul on number 23. Nope, sorry. Calls a foul against Duban Nunez of Archbishop Riordan for his pushing of number 16, Diego Maldonado. Maldonado will take the free kick. Very nice left-footed kick, lofted right into the middle of the penalty area. Archbishop Riordan is able to head it away, out of danger. And St. Francis will throw it in, going right back into that penalty area. Archbishop Riordan throws in. Electing to go throw it long and get it out of their defensive third. St. Francis defenders are there to collect it, and we're just going to see the ball move back and forth between the two teams for a bit there. Archbishop Riordan puts a ball over the top. Their attacker, number 7, runs hard to the ball. Fabian Magana runs hard to the ball, unable to keep control of it. And then St. Francis gets a chance for a throw-in right at the edge of Archbishop Riordan's defensive third. Left back Maldonado dribbles, tries to get into the penalty area, but loses it. And the ball is easily handled by the Archbishop Riordan goalkeeper. So with the change in players, St. Francis is not scoring as easily as they did, but the intensity of the play certainly has not dropped off. And that pass goes out of bounds. So we are here with just under 9 minutes left in this game. St. Francis leading 7-0. Completely shifted their players. They continue to play hard and try and score for themselves. Alexander Pavic of St. Francis unable to control that ball. It deflects. It goes out of bounds for an Archbishop Riordan throw-in. St. Francis number 17. Juan Mendoza gets a hold of that ball. It is another St. Francis quickly on the attack. And they get their 8th goal. Scored by number 21. Aiden Pesta. Aiden is a senior. And very excited to add that 8th goal to St. Francis' score. Let's take a look at that on replay. There's the through ball, one touch on it, and then a second touch to put the goal just past the goalkeeper's right side. Very nicely taken by Pesta. And on Juan Mendoza, who had the takeaway leading to that last score, then whistled by the referee for handling. Archbishop Riordan unable to make much of their possession there. But St. Francis gives the ball away, out of touch. Sorry, not out of bounds. That was a foul whistle by the referee. The free kick, as we've seen most of the afternoon, goes to that St. Francis backline who controls it fairly easily. Archbishop Riordan gains control of the ball, decides to do a through ball to reach one of their two forwards they had hanging up high. That unfortunately goes past their teammates, past the defenders for St. Francis to control. We are down to less than 5 minutes remaining in the game. Play has gotten a little bit sloppier versus the early minutes of the second half, where St. Francis seemed to be able to string together 8 or 9 passes at a time. That has not lessened their enthusiasm or energy. Archbishop Riordan does a substitution now so that Dubon Nunez can return to the field. And the referee calls a foul against Archbishop Riordan. St. Francis will have a free kick from the right-hand side, just 10 yards outside the penalty area. Lining up to take the free kick is number 2, Spencer Balkenhole. It looks like he'll put that across, loft that across to the top of the goalie box, just to the left side of the goal. We'll see where he decides to place it. Archbishop Riordan is putting up a 3-man wall, and they're listening to the referee tell them where their 10-yard placement needs to be. We're going to wait a minute before play resumes as Nunez comes back off, hobbling a little bit. There's that lofted kick we were looking for. However, the goalkeeper for Archbishop Riordan handles it well, does a very nice overhand pass, but number 13 for Archbishop Riordan, Patrick Rodil, misexecutes on his pass there, giving away possession. St. Francis moves it to the other side of the field and puts a long ball over the top, but no one there for that. We're now less than 2 minutes to play. The clock on the scoreboard has stopped at 2 minutes, and the time kept only by the center referee. St. Francis does a long throw-in. Their attacker, in an effort to get to the ball, jumps up into the air, making contact with the Archbishop Riordan defender. The referee views it as very unnecessary and sends the attacker off the field with a yellow card. That is number 21, Aiden Pesta, having to leave the field right now. Archbishop Riordan really unable to get a good clean clearance on the ball. St. Francis able to keep control here even in the final, at this point, what should be seconds of the match. There is a pass into Justin Fulton to the top of the box, but he faces a group of defenders. They get the ball clear. The center referee blows his whistle, ending up what is a rough afternoon for Archbishop Riordan. They remain winless and without any points, now sitting in the league where they have given up a total now of 41 games, 41 goals in their 7 games. So that will wrap up our broadcast. It has been our pleasure to do this from St. Francis this afternoon. We'll look forward to everyone again as we broadcast tomorrow from Mountain View High School. Producer, I want to thank the crew today. Great job by our producer, Renee Mendoza. Great job by our director, Edgar Espino Barros, who gave the direction from the broadcast truck today. And then with a lot of help from cameraman Orlando Montez. With the sun behind the clouds now, it's very comfortable here, but the gentleman did a great job while the sun was in our eyes. We also had help from cameraman John Helmholtz and also Renee Mendoza. Thank you, everyone, for watching KMVT Sports. We will see you next time.